Hello everybody, some would say I'm the Reverse, and welcome to my review for The Flash Season 6, Episode 11, titled Love is a Battlefield. So this episode is probably the worst episode of this season so far, and I'll get into why. Well, there's one main reason. Daddy likes the metal. If you don't get that joke, you might want to rewatch the episode, or just the ending part of the Amunet and Goldface storyline. We have a new Flash meme, people. Uh, Everyone is saying this in the Flash community right now. It's hilarious. Um, I don't know. I just really think this episode failed tremendously on multiple of its storylines. It's still very enjoyable. Even though it's the worst episode of the season, somehow it still managed to be decent, which just says something about this season and how good it is so far. So let's start up with the side storylines, since we don't have a lot to talk about there. Basically, this is the Valentine's Day episode, and Allegra is feeling down because of a recent breakup, or I don't know if it's recent, but it's her last breakup, basically. And she gets some help from Frost to win this guy back, basically. And they go to Jitters, and they find out he has a girlfriend, which I saw coming from a million miles away. I knew that right when she was gonna muster up the confidence to ask him out, he was gonna have a girlfriend. It's just super predictable. I saw that coming. And then Allegra blames it on Frost, which I thought was stupid, since she's only trying to help. Yeah, but eventually, Frost, she gets some advice from Nash about um, how life is not in the black and white, it's in the gray, and basically that just helped Allegra out, and she went, and now she's friends with her ex. They became friends, and Killer Frost, basically, she noted that the advice Nash gave her to give to Allegra seemed parental. So I don't know if she's starting to figure out that there is something Nash thinks is important about Allegra, that he has a connection with a doppelganger of hers. So maybe she is figuring that out, just as we have figured that out. The question is, when is Allegra going to figure that out? But at the end, in Jitters, Nash turns around. This is kind of unrelated to the Allegra storyline, but it is part of Nash's storyline in this episode, which has to do with that storyline. Nash turns around and he sees Harry, who was confirmed dead last episode, as one of the casualties of the crisis. But he sees Harry, and then someone walks in front of Harry, and Harry is gone. So he just does a little disappearing act. Obviously, this isn't actually like Harry. It isn't the real Harry there. He's not actually there. He's not alive on Earth Prime. There are two leading theories that people have. I'll talk about the one I think is not as plausible, and then the one I think is plausible, and it is my theory. So the first theory that a lot of people think is that this is Thawne. I don't think this, because I don't really think that Thawne has any part to play in this storyline. Even though we're just beginning, what does he have to do with Nash? He wore Wells' face for a little bit in his life. That's it. That's really the only thing. We could have a Reverse Flash storyline where he's trying to trick Team Flash by dressing up as Harry, maybe. I don't know. But I doubt it. The other main storyline is the one I think is plausible, and that this is all in Nash's mind. Torturing him, showing him the dead Wells, because he obviously feels guilty for it. In the last two episodes, two different characters has called him out on the Wells being dead. Cisco in the last episode says, of all the Welleses in the multiverse, we're stuck with the one that killed it, or something along the lines of that. And in this episode, Killer Frost mentions that all the Welleses are dead, and then she didn't mean to hurt Nash's feelings, but obviously he does feel guilty about it. So I think that some dead versions of Harrison Wells are going to be haunting him. Maybe not HR because he wasn't killed by Crisis, but we could see Harry, we could see Sherlock, um, Wells the Grey, even maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I also believe that this has to do with the Exorcism of Nash Wells, which is the title of episode 15. So that's in 4 episodes. That's 3 weeks after next week's. Um, so this could have something to do with his mind. I don't know. I think there's something going on with the Crisis, and possibly this could be part of his penance for Crisis, since him watching all the multiverse being destroyed, I don't think that's good enough punishment for him. Everyone, all the characters were watching the Crisis happen anyways. He wasn't the only one, so it's not really a punishment for him, but the guilt, like him imagining or something going on with his mind showing him all these different versions of Wells, um, could be his penance, and that could be pretty cool. Like some weird vibrational activity making him like see through the fabrics of the universe, looking at all the old Earths that have been destroyed, seeing Harry, seeing Sherlock, seeing Wells the Grey, seeing Wild Wild West Harry that we saw with the with the mustache that we saw in season 3 for a little bit. Wells 2.0. I don't know, but that could be pretty cool. And it starts to like hurt him or like rip him apart or something. And in episode 15, they're trying to save him from that. That could be pretty cool. But that is a far off theory, based off of one shot. But I definitely do think that Harry is in Nash's mind. Not like literally like Barry was in the Thinkers or anything, but it's a figment of his imagination. But that is basically. Oh, there also is one more theory that I saw. It was just one person, but it could be a possibility that this could be the Earth One Harrison Wells, the one that got killed by Thawne. No, it's not. I'll tell you right now, it's not Thawne. It's not that version. It is Harry. It is obviously Harry. Look at his hair. Look at the way he is standing. He has his hands in his pockets. It's Harry. Look at his clothes. Look at his face. Oh, that's not a very credible argument, but just look at the way he styles his hair. Look at the way he walks or he stands there. It's Harry. It's obviously Harry. It's not Thawne. It's not Earth One Harrison Wells. Yeah, it's Harry. It's most likely a figment of his imagination because last time I checked, Harry is not a magician. He can't just disappear like that. Yeah. But let's get to the main junk of this episode. So we got Barry and Iris. This is a very West Allen heavy episode. So West Allen fans, hope you guys enjoyed the episode, because it is very West Allen centric, even if it isn't Iris. Oops, spoiler. Just kidding. You shouldn't have came here if you didn't see the episode. They are on a Valentine's Day date, and then Amunet Black shows up in the restaurant. She calls out this guy's name. He comes forward with this briefcase. She takes it. It's containing this device thing, and I'll get to that later. But they track Amunet to Ivo Labs because of Iris. She goes into this bar that that she frequently visits, and we have a little bit of badass Iris moment, even though it's not really Iris. She takes a bottle, she slams it against this guy's face, or the top of his head, and pretty funny moments with Barry being super worried about Iris, screaming banana over the mic because that's their code word. If you don't understand that joke, it's basically because of a season 5 moment where Iris made some lopsided burnt pancakes, and she just made Barry a banana. And then at the beginning of this episode, she made him some good pancakes. That's the first moment we realized that this is not our Iris. right away I was like, Iris is still in the mirror, isn't she? This is a fake Iris. She knows how to cook. Also, I read a synopsis for a future episode that said she was stuck in the mirror still. So, there's that. But, yeah. The main takeaway, Iris knows how to cook, which is very weird. But, yeah, we got this device. Iris and Barry track Aminet to Ivo Labs, and Aminet really is just pulling the identity card, saying she's gonna blackmail. She's blackmailing Barry, saying she will reveal his identity if she sees his onesie, which was a pretty funny recurring joke throughout the episode, calling his suit a onesie. I thought that was kind of funny. But they go to Ivo Labs, and Goldface is there, and the whole Aminet and Goldface thing was kind of stupid. Not only are they looking for a plant, there's two little devices that they were looking for, and it has to do with this plant that can basically, it has this pollen that is this mind reading thing, which I guess they can read minds for pin numbers and stuff like that. That's what Iris brought up in the episode. But I thought that was really stupid. Just out of nowhere, I got a few Poison Ivy vibes from that, but that's it. I thought that was pretty stupid. And Goldface and Aminet just talking about like this old record thing that went on with some of his vinyl records. I thought that was stupid. It was just really dumb, and really brought this episode down. That was the Aminet and Goldface stuff. But Iris and Barry, they argue a little bit. After Iris steals the device, she and Barry argue a little bit because Barry is very worried about Iris's life, because she's always storming into stuff. And it's because obviously she's a reporter, and this is just a huge giveaway that this is not our Iris. She is freaking out at Barry for not for not being proud of her, and there's some like marital drama, and like they're being pushed apart. It's just it definitely isn't our Iris. I could tell at that moment that it wasn't our Iris, or it was just really bad writing. But like I said, I already knew that this wasn't our Iris going into this episode because of that synopsis, which I'm not really mad about it that it got spoiled. It wasn't really a huge revelation, and it was kind of hinted at throughout the entire episode that it wasn't our Iris. But Iris basically works with Aminet. She gives her the device that she stole, and Aminet and Goldface, they meet up again. There's like this gang war going on, and long story short, the pollen of the flower, basically Barry uses this little lightning trick. He like snaps and it sends lightning and hits the flower, and the pollen comes out, and they start reading each other's minds and stuff. They fall back in love, and they have an off-screen sex scene. This made me cringe so hard. Daddy likes the metal. That's the new meme in the Flash community. I'm not even going to explain it. If you don't know what it means, go back and watch the episode, or just don't even worry about it. It's stupid. Yeah. So, I don't know. This episode was a hit or miss. I thought it was decent at points. The end, I forgot to talk about the end. Oops. Iris is still in the mirror. That's basically it. Iris and Barry had a little moment at the end. Mirror Iris, or evil Iris, fake Iris, actually was a bit convincing. It seemed like it could be our real Iris. But then their little mirror thing that they have in their apartment, not mirror thing, just a mirror. Iris is still trapped in the mirror dimension, so she's slamming on the glass, screaming at Barry, "That's not me!" Um, yeah, crazy ending for those who didn't see that coming. I saw it coming from a mile away. But it was still a cool way to end the episode, and definitely gets me intrigued for next week. So there's only a few things to take away. You know, we got Nash seeing Harry, setting up the future of that storyline. The revelation that Iris is still in the mirror dimension, which, like I said, I already knew, but definitely sets up, like, actually in the show, like, not the synopsis, in universe, sets up the storyline. So, yeah, not much else to talk about. Um, I am not very impressed with this episode. I thought it was decent, decent to good, not a bad episode by any means. Um, I still enjoyed it, and there were still things that got me excited, and yeah, just not a bad episode. Oh, excuse me. Not a bad episode at all. Probably a 7.8 or a 7.9 out of 10. Worst episode of the season by far. Definitely worse than episode 6, which previously was the worst episode in my opinion, but that dethroned it. It is now the worst episode of the season, but that doesn't really matter. The season has been great. Um, so yeah, tell me what you thought in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for my Legends review. And I'll be doing Arrow episode 11. Oops, excuse me. Arrow episode 11 ranking. Even though the show's ended, I'm still going to do episode rankings until I get to 23 for the previous seasons, excluding episode or season 8, because that's obviously already over. And I'll also be doing it for the Flash, because I obviously still do that. And I will be having my Clone Wars season 3 episodes ranked up at some point. I'm also almost done watching season 4, so I might be doing that in the coming like week or so. I don't know, but yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for future videos. Don't forget, Daddy likes the metal. See ya.